Alright, some of you wanted me to show you guys how I'm making cuttings off of such small growth on this Thai everbearing mulberry. But I wanted to show you some of the fruits first. This thing's, I think, 2 years old. A very small cutting, similar to what I'm doing right now, size-wise. Check out the fruit. For comparison, here's an unripe dwarf everbearing. Let's see. Yeah, no comparison. Anyway, what I'm using to make those small cuttings is all the lower branches that don't get any light and just stay small and dinky like this. Ideally, you'd get better clippers than these. I'm not really going to make a clean cut, but mulberries don't care. So, take it a cutting like that. Go down to the greenhouse. I'll remove all the berries, remove all the green leaves, trim it down a bit. Probably make 2 cuttings out of something this size. Go to the greenhouse. Okay, back in the greenhouse. Got the cuttings trimmed up. There's enough for about 2. Got 1 scraped. Hold on. 1 scraped. 1's not. Potting soil. Rooting hormone, optional. Also probably rancid, but you know. Tipping the cuttings in. Putting them in dirt. Giving them water. Putting about halfway. Not really scientific, but I don't care. And you can probably root all this too. Trim all the leaves off. All the green stuff is, I usually have more success rooting them in water inside. Takes a little bit longer, but if you're really desperate for cuttings. And over here you have the ones that I've already done. The bigger ones, of course, it's almost 100%. There's one that's kind of lagging behind right here, but the other ones looking pretty good. This one's my favorite just because it has a lot of growth points and I can really crown it out and get a good structure. As you can tell, I'm a professional cameraman. But the little ones, some of them are still alive, some of them are growing like the one I had in the pictures. Some of them look a little sketchy, but you know, I need as many as I can get. So, you know, if I were to throw all these away, then I have nothing. But if I try to root as many as I can and I get 4 or 5 more, that's 4 or 5 more plants that could be fruiting by next year. These things are pretty vigorous. I mean, look over here. Got one in a 3-gallon. All I did was give it some fertilizer a week or 2 ago, and all the new flush is covered in fruit. This really needs to go in the ground, and it needs to be pruned so it's not as leggy. It really just needs to be in the ground. But when I planted this cutting, it made fruit when it flushed out. Then it made fruit again, and now it's making fruit again. And I've not even had this for a year. Not even half a year, I don't think. It's been in the greenhouse, so it never got shocked from any of the cold. It just keeps growing. What are you doing in here? Anyways, here's the soil I'm using. This is what I use for everything, starting seeds, whatever. It's expensive, but I never have nutrient problems. Most of the time I don't have nutrient problems, of course, unless, you know, I have plants that are in pots this size that needed to go out into bigger pots 6 months ago. Then I start to have, you know, problems, but I don't really care about these. These are strawberry trees from seed. They're tough. They don't care. You can put them in the ground and they could be looking just like this, and in 6 months they're 10 feet tall. It doesn't matter to them. 20 feet tall if you really take care of them. Anywho, that's all.